welcome to my limited edition special backyard adventure, species identification, dyeing techniques, and much more extravaganza. This week indoors we'll be first off talking about some special plants found right in my backyard in northwestern Washington state by a big lake, with a special focus on red alder and their cones and making dye from them. Few special guests. Hello, I'm Brian Mania, head dictator of plants. So you're gonna want to walk around under alder trees, maybe find some dead ones. And sooner or later, if you're looking at the ground, you're gonna find some of these guys. Now I collected quite a few specimens of these, and we're gonna make it into dye today. Now that you've harvested a good sum of these guys, look at that. That's money. All right. Matthew's gonna love this. My name is Steve Showdown. I'm an undergraduate at University of Arizona, and I majored in biology, chemistry, botany, and music. All right. So if my intel was correct, Brian Mania collected some alder cones for us. That's very helpful of you, Brian Mania. All right. Oh, that's awesome. So you want to get about as much cones as equal to the amount of dye you want to make. You want to gonna reach down into your own little contaminant here and pick out a rather sizely pot of dye. So let's get a good view of this. We're gonna pour the ingredients in. All right, looking good. All right, so Steve did put a little bit of copper-based rocks in here already, which is a great sign, and we'll get to those in a second. All right, and you want to take a cheese grater or a file like I have, and file down some filings off of this green rock. This is going to help the turpentines come out. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah. Hello, I'm Professor Mike Showdown, and I'm here to show you part 2 of the dyeing process. Alright, so these alder cones have been dyeing, or just sitting in this water, this room temperature now water, for 24 hours. And it's got a smell, a pleasant smell. I think that's the mushroom in there. All right, yeah. After letting the cone soak for 24 to 48 hours, you're gonna wanna start getting a little medium heat on it. So we're gonna take you over to the stove and show you that. So it is still Mike Showdown here, and we're gonna be getting this guy. No, this guy. This is a single coil. We're gonna be wanting to get this guy. Boom. You can hear the oven is just turned on. The heater, excuse me. Let's get that on a nice 4 for now. It's gonna take a while to heat up, but here's your ingredients. Alder cones, and look at that broth we already have going. It looks amazing. That's just that's brown dye right there already. So squeeze them if you like. Just let them soak still. This is gonna heat up. You don't want to burn it. You don't want to burn your dye. So don't be blasting it on any high heat. Don't boil it. Don't boil the dye out of the water. You're gonna heat the dye into the water. As to not disturb the process, do not boil it. Alright, once you get up to a nice warm simmery heat, let that simmer off for about an hour. Look at that, so dark. And I'll go teach you some stuff about dyes. Welcome to my classroom. Have a seat. Pay attention. So while that's simmering away, I wanted to teach you guys about some of the things in alder cones that allow it to be such a great natural dye. Alright, so first off, we should start by explaining what is an alder cone? Well, an alder cone is a female cone. So you're going out on a walk and you yourself want to find some of these cones. Well, you're going to look up in the canopy, you find your alder, and you're going to say, oh, alright, I see two things. This is in the winter. You're in the winter right now. I see two things up there, Professor Mike. What's that? Well, I see these little dangly green things and these brown little cones. Well, what you're seeing there is the female reproductive part called the cone. Diagram here. And what you're seeing, those dangly little maybe French fries, that's the male catkins reproductive part. The catkins is unfortunately not the focus of this lesson. So moving on to the cones. Once you collect some of these cones, the reason why they're going to produce such a wonderful dye for you is because they're high in tannins here. Look at this lovely molecule. Very cool. And what are tannins, Professor? Student, tannins are a natural mordant. Alright? And a mordant is just a molecule, a substance that naturally it increases the binding of a dye to a fabric and really gets it tight in there. So luckily these cones have a lot of tannins and it's going to be a great strong dye for your fabric. And it's a beautiful dance between how long you leave that fabric in the dye, what temperature, and that'll give you the result of either a stronger, more dyed fabric or less dyed fabric. Hey guys! Right. It's Mike Showdown back, and it's been an hour. Oh my god, guys, you would not believe how dark the dye has become. It's so dark, it's unreal. Alright, so I think it's time we strain it. Now you're just going to want to pour it into a coffee filter without the filter. Yeah! Look at this freshly homemade dye. Pour the dye back into the bowl. I threw away all the... I just dropped them in the yard, right? You know, they're fine. All the old pine cones. Take your Calvin Klein's old pair of underwear. just start dipping them in there. All right. Let's flip this over. Wow. That is a strong dye. I don't know if these, you know, famous brands of clothing fabric have some kind of anti-dye chemicals in them because they don't want people just making their own colors. Who knows, but I think if we get enough of this liquid stuff in here, I think we'll be cooking with gas. This is just like tie-dye. Tie-dye but with brown and right from your backyard. Wow. Alright, let's leave this here to sit for another 24 hours. See you tomorrow. Hey guys! It's Brian Mania back from the field, and I came for you with some extra facts I just decided from the field. Through my studies and observations, I have identified, I have categorized, and I have conquered the red alder tree. Proudly, I bring back to you what I have learned deep in the forest that I was at. So, red alder, Latin name, Aulnus rubra, rubra meaning red, alnus meaning they're all nice trees. So, here's a nice diagram of the tree. It's got papery, grayish white bark, and most of the time has lichen or moss growing on the bark, so that's easy to identify. The leaves are green and serrated around, and on this particular one, the margins of the leaves curl in a little, which distinguishes it from other alders. It's got the male and female catkins, the cones, and the little French fries. Here's some cool stuff. It's a deciduous broadleaf tree, which means, I'm pretty sure that means its leaves fall off and it has broad leaves. Wow. It's a native plant to the Pacific Northwest. It's the largest type of alder found in North America. If you go up to the alder, take your knife out, boom, brage it, just cut it open. You're gonna see that the flesh and the bark, it bruises red when you cut it and stuff. That's epic. It likes to grow in moist forest soils. It's a great replenisher of our soils because it can grow in nitrogen poor soils, which helps it get nitrogen back into the soil, makes some good soil. Not to mention it's got a short lifespan, up to 100 years, like max basically, much times less, and so it falls down, it gets eaten up by the mushrooms, it turns into nice soil. So it can grow back from a clear cut, a burn. These guys will pop up first, and they'll die first, and they'll make that soil very beautiful for everybody and for nobody. Yeah, it grows fast too. That's cool. You know, it's used in furniture and stuff like that, and some old ancient construction, because it's apparently mold resistant, and it's also easier to work with than other popular hardwoods. So it's a pretty useful, cool tree, and I had a lot of fun hanging out with it today and cutting it up and making my underwear brown. So, thank you. Alright. Yeah, we get the underwear in here. It's been soaking all night. Let's see, get get that on medium heat, a little lower, simmer it for an hour. Looks good. Be sure to really watch what you're doing, because you might evaporate all the liquid and kind of burn your underwear. I think it's still gonna be brown though. So let's transfer this into this water area. So I just washed it a little and pushed a lot of the water out. So let's put this in the dryer. Just kind of set it on dry or whatever. There we go. Alright guys, here's the end result. Pretty dry now. It's got a nice kind of brown underwear look to it. Nice coloration. Didn't dye too hard. There's some spots. Yeah, it's like looks like a really old piece of white underwear now, like almost like ancient. So that's very cool and useful. Alright guys, this is what they look like when you wear them. Yeah, pretty easy natural dye process, pretty cool. I feel like a prisoner has just been wearing these underwear for like years, and they're just disgusting, and that's pretty awesome. So like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button. Bye. Alright.